So I wonder if it notifies mine or yours too.
It notify well, I have the little thing check that's like notify all your subscribers. So
Yeah,
hopefully it notifies both of them. Oh, yay, we're live.
we're live. We're doing it. Hi, everyone, or the one person who's here so far. I'm Erin Shetron. I'm here with Russell Nolte, and we're going to be talking about Substack growth strategies and rapid fire rating them, or not
Yeah.
so rapid fire if we've got extra things to say about them. But during this live, you can put messages into the chat with the growth strategies that you like or that you're suspicious of or that you have questions about, and we'll see if we can add them to our mix.
I love it. Yeah, let's do it. I'm so excited. I've talked to you in private. This is the first like public conversation I've had with you. And just like I had so much fun the last 15 minutes. Like I can't wait.
Awesome. Sweet. I'm so excited. Well, who wants to start? Should we rock, paper, scissors this or what?
You can start because it's your stream.
All right. Sweet. Let's do it. All right. So let's see which one I want to start. Should I do an easy one or a tough one? Okay, here's one that that I have some thoughts on. Um, Writing those notes that go only X more subscribers until I hit Y. What do you think,
Yeah.
Rachel?
Ooh, this goes kind of to one that I have too, but it is distinct. So I think of this in two ways. Like, is it effective? And like, is it dumb? And like like it can't possibly be good for your engagement in the long term to
Yeah,
continue to make these posts. But if you make them, then a lot of people will be like, "Oh, I'll subscribe to you." And like I've been on every platform
yeah,
since 2000, since Facebook or MySpace or Friendster or whatever the first one was that I got on, and like this
totally.
has always been a thing that doesn't work.
Yes, I know. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right. So, what do you rate it? What's your ultimate
I
rate?
rate it. Well, it can give you because it can give you a jolt of like, it's exciting right now
Mhm.
when you will get some new subscribers. I'm going to do a 4 out of 10.
Okay, that's so fair. I was thinking that too. Like, it's under 5, but it's not nothing. It does
Right.
work, but it's a little dumb as far as, like, long-term engagement goes.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So my first one is writing 3 to 10 posts a day on notes.
Ooh, yeah. So, anything about notes, what I tell my clients, if it burns you out and makes you miserable, it's just not worth it. It's kinda what you said, like, does it work? Yeah, doing notes is sort of like playing the crafts. Like, eventually, one of them may take off and you'll get new followers, which theoretically you can convert into subscribers. Sometimes you do get a few new subscribers. And if you like it and you're feeling energized and like I was before this call and I was tagging you in all my unhinged notes, sure, like follow that energy. It does work occasionally. Um, but if it burns you out and makes you feel like crap, there are better strategies. So I'm going to say that's maybe, oh gosh, do I go 4 or 6? It's like leaning on one side of the fence. I might go 6 with it.
Yeah, I definitely think that it's on the upper echelon of effectiveness.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
there is a thing that we don't talk about, which is I call it's like the Noah Berlansky syndrome, if you know Noah. Like when or kind of also Alex.
Hmm.
When when
Oh,
uh, when when like notes started, they were everywhere.
yes.
And like and like that is great until it is very not great. And
Yeah.
like then people like will get sick of it because you
Mhm.
can only see so much content from one person of the same. It's always these like rapid fire same similar things, and I see my friends do it and I'm like, I love you, but I hate this thing. I like that you're existing, but I don't want to see any more content from you for a week.
Oh,
And I think that you can get into, and this happens with all celebrities. Like when they get overexposure, suddenly like everything turns against them.
There's a
And
drop.
so, yeah, I would say at the beginning, great.
Okay.
Like maybe 10, maybe a 10 of 10. Like it'll work like if you do this, but eventually you're going to burn out and like it's probably in that 6 of 10 range for the long haul.
Totally. And I do think that there's something to be said for riding the energy that you have toward notes, because if you ride your energy and then you feel your energy dwindling, that is probably around the time that people are going to get sick of hearing from you anyway. So take a step back, focus on other things. And then, yeah, maybe in a week or two, you'll be rejuvenated and have a bunch more to say on notes. But yeah, as just like a fire hose week after week, don't recommend.
Yeah, absolutely. And I also think that it's good for building a case. So like if you have like a new program that you're launching or like a new thing that you're doing or like a new book that's coming out or like
Yeah,
and like then I think it's appropriate to be like I need to be around for a long period of time
yeah,
to talk about these things because it's like nuance. But like as a 24/7 strategy,
right.
it does I think at some point you will burn out. Most people will burn out and people will probably not resonate long term.
Totally, totally agree. And I love that you added um, that nuance of like, yeah, if you're leading up to something, absolutely, that timing is great. Go all out, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
So mine is niching down. There's a lot of talk about niching up or down. How would you rate niching down as a growth strategy?
I think that it's a great growth strategy as
Hmm.
long as you understand the purpose, the real purpose behind niching. Well, the two
Hmm.
purposes. One is what what is necessary to grow is that people can think of you, put it on one thing, and then they can recommend it. Like you're the
Right.
this person, or like
Yeah,
you're
the
in this
clear
bucket.
association. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that over time, like you can grow that bucket to more general, but like the more broad you try to be at launch, like when you start, the less you are able to be the X guy,
Yep.
which I say in order to say the real reason why someone wants to niche down is not necessarily even so your followers can like recommend you. It's that the ecosystem as a whole knows where to slot you in. So a huge part of doing this work is like networking and talking to other humans and like being a good steward of the niche and being on other podcasts and being
Yeah.
on other this. And so like they people want to look at their ecosystem and be like, oh great, like I don't cover Kickstarter, I
Yeah.
don't cover this topic, I'm not talking about like you are the crier person, like whatever that thing is, they can bring you in and say it's going to be an additive value to my people that I don't already provide because
Right.
people already have their fiefdom. I don't need another person talking about like Kickstarter because like I talk about Kickstarter. And
Yeah.
but like if someone came in to talk about Pinterest or like craft, I do a lot of craft guest posting because like I know that like people want craft
Yeah.
and like I don't really have a lot of craft stuff. So like anything that I can pull in and be like, oh, this is a value add, and I can introduce you to another person that's not going to pull you out of my ecosystem,
Yep.
good. And so niching down is helpful at the beginning. Then eventually you have to start niching back up again. But like,
What do you
so
so
I'm going to rate it a 9 of 10.
Okay, I love it. So one thing that I thought of with this one is niching down. I think I totally agree with everything that you said. And I'll also say that if you're an extremely good writer and you have an extremely nuanced perspective and a really recognizable voice, I think that you can avoid having to niche down because then your niche is sort of your personality or your voice and it's less topic driven. What do you think of that?
Absolutely. I mean, I think of Alex DeBrinco or like Lauren Hu or Ash Amberge, or like these are people that talk about wide ranges of things, but like in their voice.
Yes, yeah, and so it's still distinct. Yeah, I think some distinction is so necessary.
Absolutely. Do you agree with the 9 of 10?
Yes, totally. Agreed.
Awesome. Okay, so my next one is one that I do personally, and
Okay.
it's creating pop-up publications for specific projects.
Ooh, cool. So you start new publications for specific projects.
Yeah, so like last
Mm.
year, Claire and I did like a Sparkles on Substack summit.
Yes.
I see people do, and like we did this year with the Right Build Scale team, we did like an anthology called 10K Secrets, and like these were new publications that like existed, but they weren't meant to exist forever. They were meant to exist for that time, and maybe to come back to later. But
Yeah, so I really love this one. I love the way that you and Claire did the Sparkle Summit, or the Sparkle On Summit. I feel like this is at least a 9 out of 10. I think it's so effective. I've seen you do it really effectively. And I also think it feeds into our last one about niching down. If you put out something that maybe isn't in complete total alignment with your current publication, it can be so beneficial to start a new one that is just solely focused on that project, even if it's not meant to last. I think the growth there can be so exponential. And then you can pivot those people either back to your ongoing project or, the next one. You can already have the next one teed up. But yeah, I definitely give that a high rating.
yeah, so one of the things that people that are like broad
Hmm.
tend to think about is like, wow, like I want to talk about this topic because it's hot right now. Or like I want to work with Erin, or I want to work with Claire. I want to work with these five people on like a project that's
Yeah.
like really tightly um
Focus.
defined,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but I want to use my Substack audience as well. And I want those people to eventually come into my publication. And so, like, for instance, the 10K Secrets book, it's like,
Hmm.
well, like, neither of us really, I mean, if it went gangbusters, we were like, yeah, like, this is a great brand.
Yeah.
But like it's not necessarily a thing that we want to be talking about every week, but like we did want to talk about it for this small amount of time. So it's great to, and like it can break through all of the other note stuff. If all of you, to go back to the posting all the time about a thing, like when
Yeah.
we were live with this thing
Perfect.
for that time, we were all like, now there's 12 people posting for 2 or 3 weeks that like were about this one topic. And then we all went back to our lives.
Yes. Oh, I love it. Yeah. You guys did great with that.
All right. So you said 9 of 10? 10 of 10?
Yeah,
What
9
do we
out of 10. I
9?
think it's killer. Yeah, that's not
Yeah.
something that I personally have tried, but I've seen it work for other people, and I always feel I think it cuts down on overwhelm. Like for me as a user, as someone on the platform, I like that I can sign up for something that is just about that thing that I'm interested in. And there's some relief in knowing that it's not going to be weekly forever, that it's just sort of a time and place.
Yeah. One
Yeah.
other thing that I will say is a lot of publications, that, especially if you're very broad, like
Mhm.
pe people are intimidated because there's so much stuff. Like you've been there for 5 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I've been wanting to check out Russell's stuff or Aaron's
Mhm.
stuff or Mike's stuff. And now there's this project chance to enter the ecosystem, learn about them, and then see how I feel.
Totally. Yeah.
All right, what's your next one?
All right. My next one is focusing on free subscribers first and then paid. And so I throw this out there as sort of contrary to gunning it on paid all the time.
All right. So I,
Oh, I just
because of how,
one more thing. I want to
sure.
also say that when I first started on Substack, I read some huge account saying that if you focus on paid, the free will come. And so that also sparked this because I think that's pretty popular wisdom out on the platform. So I want to see what you think.
Yeah, I mean, I saw Tom Orbach just spend 2 years or 5 years building like a 40,000 person mailing list and then launch a thing after that to like 500 or making $50,000 a year suddenly, like within like a week.
Oh,
So like, I feel like I can't say any less than like a 7 out
okay.
of 10 on this one because I literally like that is an enormous area of that it is an enormous like successful win. I
Yeah.
do think that it depends on your niche because he's a business person, so
Yep.
like having that
Now.
other and also it depends like are you going like what is the paid thing? Because a lot of people have a paid thing that's just like I don't have extra stuff. You just pay me when you pay me. And like, I feel like
Payment
if you don't
model.
have paid on, yeah, I feel like if you don't have paid on at first for that, it makes no sense. Like,
Yeah.
there's not like anything you're building to. So, like, why? Like, if someone wants to support you at any point, then like they should be able to get into that ecosystem. And so I think it's like, how much does a launch plan affect your publication? If you are going to say, I'm going to launch on June and I'm going to have this course ready and I'm going to have all of this stuff ready, then like,
Yeah.
sure, like I think it makes sense to focus on free first. If
Hmm.
you don't have that stuff, then and you're not going to have like a specific offer,
Yeah.
then like I think probably putting paid on doesn't hurt you unless it prevents you from writing because a lot
Yeah.
of people won't write like because they're like so like oh my god I'm not giving my paid people enough. And so like this one is very nuanced. I would say as somebody who spent 10 years building like a free mailing list and like had but I had launches on Kickstarter and other places at a time. I think that like if you don't eventually make money, you
Hmm.
are going to burn out.
Yeah. Right.
And so and at the very least be able to do less because you now have to get a job or do other things. So like
Yeah.
there's it should be a plan, but it's the difference between my ex-business partner would say I'm putting pennies in the bank every day, so
Hmm.
like, and then that leads up to $1 or like depositing $10 at once.
Yeah.
And I think it's going to depend on like what your success level is, but it is no less than a 7 out of 10.
Love it. I think that was really thorough. Yeah. One thing that I think about with this question on whether to focus solely on free and then switch to paid is that it really just depends on what your paid offering is. And also for me, I always think of it like in buckets. So if I'm filling my free subscriber bucket and then I launch something paid or I have, a paid series coming out or a meetup or something, it's so much easier to skim off the top of that bucket and convert some of those free subscribers, which are your paid leads pretty much, skim off the top into your paid subscriber bucket than it is if you don't have a full free subscriber bucket, if you haven't been generating any new free subscribers, right? So there is something to be said for really continually generating free subscribers because it does make it easier to sorry, I'm just reading Debbie. Hi Debbie, listening on mute. Okay, great. I don't know if we're muted or you're muted, but either way, awesome. Yeah, it just makes it so much easier when you do go to launch anything paid because then you have them sitting right there and they're more likely to convert.
Yeah, and I think people don't realize that probably between 1% and 3% of people are going to convert. And so, like, if you have 100 people, that's one. If you have
Yeah,
1,000 people, that's 10. If you have 10,000 people, that's 100. Like, I'm not saying that is necessary. Some people will convert 10%, and like when you convert
sure.
10% of your people, like, I mean, Siler will like then write an article about how like your growth is. If you get higher than 10%, I
Mhm.
would say you aren't growing enough.
Yeah.
Like, because that's enough. It's like if 10% of your people or 15% of your people are converting, you probably can like expand a lot of like your reach
Right.
because
That's
like,
fine. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, you like your thing is so in tune. So, but yeah, I think that I one of the reasons why I think you should do a paid offer is because the best way to figure out your paid offer is to have one and then offer a bunch of different things and get used to like
Mm,
launching a thing and be like, oh, that didn't work. Like, I'm just going to do this. And like, I'm going to see if this works and that works and this works. And if you don't have, like, the minute that you, like, that minute, if you don't have the paid offer, it becomes this kind of like, oh, it has to be even bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and
yeah.
bigger. Every day that you don't have that paid offer, you're like, oh, like now when I turn it on, it has to be this big thing. Whereas, like, a lot of times you might find that just having the paid offer on like lets you experiment and do things.
Yeah. Testing mode all the way.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I am going to go to so I have two ones that are kind of the same,
Okay.
but like they are different. One of them, my favorite new strategy that I've seen, I totally forget that this happened, and Claire said they used to be called hops, and I forgot about these. Whereas like all of you on your publication or you with maybe one other person or three other people, like you each write a piece on a topic. Like,
Oh,
and at the top of the thing, you say, I'm doing this in concert with these three people that are
right.
writing an article on the same time. So you're like writing an article for yourself. You're doing like you're almost like talking to each other and you're introducing each other.
Yes. Okay, I love this. I love this so much, and I don't see it done as much. It's basically you're creating a series with other Substackers. So the series doesn't live totally on your publication. Other people are responding and writing their own kind of episode of this series. And I love that. I love it when TV shows do it. I love it when Substackers do it. I think it's really cool. It's a great way to increase the awareness on your publication by having those links sort of, directing back to your publication. And I also just think it's a cool way to focus on a topic in a more nuanced way. As individuals, we can only approach something with so much nuance, but inviting new, different perspectives on a topic, I think can really blow it wide open in this way that we just can't do as individuals on our own. And I think it's great for growth because yeah, the brand awareness aspect of it I think is really high. So yeah, I am not sure what to rate this because I haven't seen data on it, but I off the bat would rate it a 7 out of 10. I think it's a really
Yeah,
cool.
and just for fun and ease, it's like
Yeah,
it's like I feel like it deserves a 7 at least because
yeah,
like, well, you're not inviting other people to your publication. And if you like, because a lot of people are not comfortable with that. Like, so it's like, okay, no,
sure.
people aren't writing for your publication. You're not cross-posting a thing. It's still your work. It's just
Right.
like a pointed part of the work, and you already have to write that article. So like as
Yes.
far as like ease and just overall, I think that even if you don't get a lot of traffic from it, building collaborations that like get more complicated, like that one collaboration could lead to doing a podcast episode with someone, or that could
Yep.
lead to like, so like just for that, I think I would rate it like a 8.5 out of 10. But
Yep.
I understand why it would be a 7 because it's probably not going to do as much for immediate growth as some of the other things we talked about.
Right. It'd be so interesting to do it and see what the actual click through rates are on the other series, parts of the series that come out on other publications and see what kind of conversion that everybody's getting by the time it's all said and done. But I think if you do it really tight and everyone's kind of publishing within maybe a few days or a week of each other, and you're doing a lot to kind of point to the other articles in the series, I could see it being really effective, especially like you said, for ease and also for collaboration potential.
Yeah, and it could end up being an anthology at the end of it. Like you do a series, and then like 10 of you could, those 10 articles could be compiled into a free lead magnet or something that like each of you could use. So, all right,
Absolutely.
what's your next one?
Okay, my next one actually goes off of this, and it's guest essays.
Yeah, I love guest essays. I mean, I'm just gonna say like the 10 out of 10. Like there's like
Okay.
nothing. It may be the best growth strategy for Substack.
Mm,
Now, I say Substack because like Notes is a part of Substack. And we
okay.
always are talking about like Substack is this growth engine. And like really, like Substack has existed since 2017, and Notes has existed since 2023. So even inside the thing, it's not nearly the biggest, the longest term thing that exists. And so, like, if you
True.
take instead of Notes, you take the entire Substack ecosystem, and the thing that, if you believe, as I do, that the thing that drives the most things are recommendations of other people and like
Mhm.
the creator network, then like someone letting you post on their publication is like about the biggest form of trust and validation that you can get,
Mhm.
because they are now saying, you are all my subscribers. I'm not going to talk about this tactic. I'm going to have Erin come in
Mhm.
and talk about this tactic. She's going to write for it, and like you should all listen to her, and then you should
Totally.
all follow her. So
Totally.
like
The mic pass. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I 11 out of 10, like 10 out, like I think people should be doing this at least once a month. If you're not doing this at least once a month, like going out and trying to at least find collaborations like this, at
Yeah.
least doing these kind of podcast episodes, like you are missing the best growth engine, because those people end up being the people who recommend you both in the creator network and just overall.
Totally. Okay, so is there any difference in rating between hosting a guest essay on your newsletter versus pitching a guest essay and hosting your work on another?
I think that most of the time you should try and do, unless your publication is like massively bigger than the other person's, or you don't want to write a guest at like, you
Yeah.
should probably be trying to do like guest swap, like the
Swap. Yeah.
swaps. So each of you are doing it, because then both of you get to write an article that you don't have to write that week. Now it's a lot different when like you have like I have 40,000 subscribers currently, or 45,000 subscribers. So like most people who pitch
Only a
me,
handful more than me, you know?
but like most a lot of it, so like yes, but a lot of people pitch me who are great, like
Mhm.
you, who like I just like I would love to like write an article for everyone who guest posts for me, but I just like I can't.
Totally. Yeah.
So I think that most people that are doing this are at similar levels.
Yes.
And if you're at similar levels there and
Swap.
you want to grow, you both, because now you're getting the benefit of like someone is getting a benefit from you, but you're also getting that benefit. And you probably shouldn't guest post on a publication, like have someone come in at least at the beginning to guest post, if you wouldn't write for their publication. It's just like,
Totally.
or like, so I mean that's not always the case, because like your publication for instance isn't super businessy. That's
Yeah.
why we do these things.
Yeah.
So like that's not always the case, but probably like you want to do the thing. But as far as growth goes, you are going to not get growth from hosting.
Mhm.
So certainly the growth number would be mainly on the you doing the post for somebody else, but you probably won't be able to get the post on someone else without at least offering something of yourself.
Absolutely. Yeah, especially if you're just starting out, I think the swaps are a really good, show of goodwill. So that makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
And I also wish that more people would take advantage of like a bigger publication that does guest articles and pitching that article. So many people at the beginning are like, I would never, like they would never guest post an article for me, but like that is not
But they
true.
would.
Like
I
yeah,
know.
a huge part of like what you want to do when you get to a certain level is find other people who are aligned with you but have different voices, because the truth
Mhm.
is like everyone has heard the things that I have to say. So
Mhm.
that like a lot of people just need to hear the same thing told by somebody else. So there's a huge value of someone who did like a strategy that got 500 subs or even 100 subs, because most people don't have 45,000 subscribers, and
Right.
they have 100, and they're like, oh, this person has 100 and they got another 100 by doing this. Like, it's so much more impactful. And because I am the person then like curating the thing, they know they can trust it because my trust goes into their trust, and then they can trust the thing that's being said. So
Totally. Yeah, I'm with you. 11 out of 10 for me. Collaborations for the win.
awesome. What's your next one?
Oh, is it? I think it's your turn.
Oh, okay. So, then this is good because I get to like kind of add my to continue that conversation. Like, you can also co-write articles with
Yeah.
people at the same time. So whether that is an asynchronous interview, whether that is um whether that is both of you like getting together in a Notion document and like typing at the same time, whether it's brainstorming together, whether it's like this kind of thing where we're doing this live and then it's going to become an article later
Right.
that lives on the so like is there any how does the things that we just talked about differ if you're co-writing an article together, and are there any other things that we need to think about with that?
Oh, interesting. So do you mean like if we, publish this, we're co-authors and it's showing up
Yeah.
on our newsletters?
Well, just like if yes, I my so there's two things. Like,
Okay.
we could write an article together and it just appears on one, or it could
Sure.
appear on both of ours. But like the thing is how yes. So I'm going to say we both write an article together and it appears on both our publications, or at least one of our publications, because I know that this won't necessarily live on your publication because it
Sure.
doesn't like necessarily, but like
The criers
the
aren't interested in strategy. Sorry, guys.
right, exactly. Which, so yeah, like, yeah, I don't know if we already talked about this, but it's the next one that I had written down.
Okay, I love it. Yeah, we can add a little color here, I think. Um, I I think if you're my biggest thing would be what we talked about before in the niching conversation. I think if you're going to co-write with someone, and either whether you're doing it live or you're doing it async, I think keeping your voice and each person's voice pretty distinct and maybe keeping it attributed to the person is really important because ultimately when you put these things out, the idea is well, it's a creative storm, which is amazing. But as a growth strategy, it's about visibility and also just getting increasing maybe ease around creation. But you want to keep your voice super distinct so that if, we collaborate on an essay or a listicle or something, and it gets published on the author stack, I'm going to want to make sure that I don't kind of get lost in that. And that the people from the author stack audience who see it, know what I'm contributing to the piece. So I like what you said about like an async interview. And we batted around the idea of doing that instead of the live. So I'm gonna say it's maybe another 7 out of 10. I think it's a great idea. The exposure possibility seems really good and high. And with the caveat being that somehow like in the form of the post itself that we're correctly sort of attributing the work to each one of us.
Yeah, and I think it's something that can be used so I did one with Daniel Paris a couple years ago. He
Okay.
does stat significant, and
Oh,
his thing was he wanted to do something where like I broke down a lot of the kicks. Like, he found Kickstarter data and he was like, this is what's happened between Kickstarter in 2022 and 2024. Here are several charts, and then
oh,
like he said like this is what he sees in the chart, and then I said what I saw in the chart based on
okay.
my experience. And I think something like that is like, or like this is a really good, like, it's clear I have an opinion.
Yeah.
He had an opinion. I have an opinion. You have an opinion. Like,
Mhm.
and they're like siloed. When I did the Kickstarter book with the Substack book with Claire,
Yeah.
like her thing was like she added a bunch of like sparkle secrets things that like were in hers, and it would come
Yes.
across as like her how she would do this strategy. So like there
Yes.
was like this very definite break.
Yes. I love that. That definitely would maybe bump it up to an 8 out of 10 for me. I think that's really cool.
Awesome.
And it's
Yeah,
creative. Not a lot of people are doing it, so I love it.
yeah. The more that and that is how I think about working with publications that aren't in my niche because stat significant is not in my niche. But like,
Right.
how can I take that thing and bring it to a bunch of people and make it valuable to both of us?
Yes, absolutely. And that's really what we should be asking ourselves whenever we do any sort of collaboration. The fit really matters. Collaborations are only that 11 out of 10 if the fit is just right.
Yeah, absolutely. But you don't necessarily know which one's going to be to work
True.
at the best until you do it. So it's one of these things where like let's say you do 10 collaborations. One's going to go to the moon, one's going to down, and then the other eight are going to do well for you. And if you have that
Yeah.
kind of mix, then like you are winning. I think what people do think about like, oh, I have to make every collaboration perfect, and
Yeah.
like nothing is going to be perfect. Even if you're at like the top level, the only difference really is that the ups are more up, and you find ways to eliminate a lot of the downs.
Yes, whenever I do consultations with clients and I send them some prep questions, one of the questions is, what growth strategies have you already tried and what do you know works and doesn't work already? Like, what knowledge are you coming into this call with? And I see a lot of people come into those calls and they've written, collaborations don't work. I tried one and it was a flop. And I'm always shocked that, we can never really extrapolate what's truly going to work for us based off one experience or even a handful. And that
Right.
goes, sorry, there's a garbage truck outside. That goes for anything that we're testing. We have to make sure we have a big enough data set to draw any real valuable conclusions. And so, exactly what you said about collaborations, we can get a good sense off the bat if it's going to be a good fit or not, but truly we won't know until we try. And we should be trying. I mean, I love your idea to try, at least once a month, and really just be putting ourselves out there because we're going to be surprised with what works and we might be surprised with what doesn't, but it's still good information to have.
Yeah, and I think that's so true with any growth strategy. Like you said, it's like ads work,
Yeah.
but like the right ad work.
In the right place.
Like,
Yes.
yeah, it's like community works for growth, but like the community has to be designed in like the right way with the right outcomes. Like collaborations can work or like partnerships can work, but like you both have to be added. Like there's all of these things where, and part of what's hardest about doing this growth work or really any work in a business is like just because it works for somebody else doesn't mean even if you are in the exact niche, even if you live in the same place, even if you live next to the person, even if you live with the person, even if you look and
Yeah.
sound and have the exact same lived experience, start a publication on the same day, your
Yeah.
growth trajectories will not be the same. They can be they could be similar, but they're probably going to be dissimilar, which is different but similar.
I love that.
And
Yeah.
um, yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think that the question is really which one feels good to you? Like, which
Yes.
one can you do, even if there's failure after failure after failure and still have fun? Because those are the things that eventually will have growth.
Yes, totally. I completely agree. Yeah, I'm always telling my clients to just keep a testing mindset so that there's not so much pressure on every single attempt, every single effort. And to also just check, I both you and I, Russell, have been through a lot just in health wise. And I think it's good, like we can pass on those lessons to people who maybe haven't. Like do a somatic check, truly. See if it
Mhm.
actually feels good in your body to do collaborations or to send marketing emails, which is my next one, by the way. But yeah, see how it actually feels and will you be able to sustain it? Is it feasible for you to continue doing this effort over and over if you really believe in it and That's the only way you're going to see if it is truly going to work is if you can see yourself sustaining that effort.
Yeah, we used to say at Writer MBA, you're not doing marketing wrong, you're doing the wrong marketing. And
Yeah.
what that often means is like if you talk to 10 people, they'll all say they hate marketing. And then you say, like, what does that mean? And they'll
Right.
have 10 different answers. And what is really interesting is they will say everything they don't like is marketing, but the things they do like
Right. Not marketing.
is like, oh, that's not marketing. I just have
I
fun. It's like,
know.
okay, well, like if you like popping around Facebook groups talking about things, or like if you like writing guest posts, or even if you just like going into the story and figuring out how to optimize it, like all of those things are marketing. You just have to do, and like if you do marketing and you see growth, guess what? You will like it
Yeah.
because more people will come in to your ecosystem to like you. So the
Yeah.
question is like not do you like marketing? Because you do. The question is like what marketing feels easeful,
Yes.
which is like not easy. Easy is without difficulty. Easeful is without friction. So what can
Yes.
you do without friction?
Absolutely. Oh, can't wait to pull that quote out of the article that comes out after this and paste it all over the internet. I love it.
Awesome. All right, what's your next one? I only have one more left. So
Okay. Yeah, we're coming to the end. So maybe this will be my last one and then you'll do last one and we'll wrap things up. All right. So my last one is sending regular email only promos to free subscribers.
sure. Okay. So I will say in my publication, the biggest benefit of you being a paid subscriber is that you don't get marketing emails.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like I consider that a benefit of of
You
going
don't
to
have to
paid.
hear from me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That said, I think that as a growth strategy, assuming we're talking about growing your publication with more readers, the worst thing you can possibly do is bring up money
Mm.
because
To who?
the way you grow is to reduce friction. And
Yeah.
money is the number one friction thing. And
Mm.
so like the minute that you bring up money, people will go, ew, gross.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and they will turn away from you. So it is actually like a 0 of 10 for growth. That
Okay.
said, if you are talking about money growth, then it's like a 10 out of 10 because it's like like no, but everyone wants to think that like people are just going to eventually be like, that was so good, I'm going to start paying for it. But like
Yeah.
that, it's just not the case. Like maybe 1% of the total people will do that. Like, I mean, 1% of the total buyers, not because like we already talked about 1 to 3% are
Yep.
buyers. Like, I'm talking about 1% of those will be like, this is enough. I've now reached my bing. I've done it with a couple of people, but in general, I will like I only make that decision when someone goes, "Did you know you could pay for this?" And then I go, I do want to pay for that. Or like, oh,
Yeah.
that is a benefit I didn't know I was going to get.
Yep.
And so like I'm currently launching the Hapitalist program
Yep.
and I'm sending like a daily email for the next 17 days to everyone who's not in Hapitalist. And
Right.
each one is like, here's a benefit of Hapitalist. Here's something you might know. Here's who this is for. Here's who these things, and like each of those things does like a little bit of the work to convince somebody.
Right.
So, like, I think that just sending marketing email is not a great strategy, but maybe it is. Maybe once a month you can send an email that's like, hey, did you know you could buy this? And also, paid members never get these stupid emails. So, like, you just like, if you want to never get this email again, it's the easiest way, like, whatever that thing is. But as a growth strategy for more people coming into your ecosystem, the absolute worst thing you can do is bring up money of any kind.
I'm with you. I will say I always tell people that to do a really good marketing email, there's a few things that have to be in place, and you talked about them. One is to kind of treat it like a press release, like only email when there's something actually cool happening that you want to tell them about. And then the other thing is sort of that like free subscriber bucket that I was talking about earlier. Like, only send it, only try to skim off the top. Only the new guys get it. So if you're going to maybe do something monthly or quarterly just to free subscribers to say, hey, you could upgrade for this new cool thing I'm doing, this article I'm putting out next week, right? Like, make it timely, but also only send that email to the free subscribers who have signed up since you last sent the email. I think that that makes a big difference too,
Yeah.
because then it doesn't feel like you're beating up your list and driving people away.
Yeah, and I think that if you do, so like I do biannual pay what you can afford promotions, and it
Yep.
happens twice a year. It's like I people know that it's a thing. So like if you do them in like focused buckets, I think minimum, I think you should do one a quarter
Yep.
personally. Like one promotion a quarter that like gives people a reason to buy. Um, but I actually think it's interesting because my how I send the email is I don't send it to anyone who joined in the last 4 to 6 weeks
Okay.
because I know that they need that amount of time to actually know the value of the publication. So, like, I think that you could send, like, hey, you're a new subscriber, like, just so you know, like, you get this one thing. Like, that's certainly something else that I do. And it's in my first, like, email to people. But
Yeah.
I do think that if you know how long it takes someone to fall in love with your publication, then, like, maybe you should send them the email
Mhm.
until like you know they are likely to be in love with your publication.
Yeah, there's a sweet spot there that you're talking about. Yeah, I have seen both things happen. I've really seen a lot of success in getting people when they're really fresh to a newsletter, like they're the hottest leads. Sorry to bring marketing jumbo into this. Um, but I think that you're bringing up a really good nuance there, which is that sometimes they're too new. They're too warm. They haven't fully understood what's happening yet. And also, I don't know. I think these emails can help if your welcome emails don't have a super high open rate, which they tend not to. And so it's kind of good to let people know what's up in a more sort of focused and timely way versus your typical like boilerplate welcome email that goes out
Yeah.
to every.
I mean, so I think that you need a something outside of Substack to do these emails, but I think that you need to send, like, I have a 5 email sequence that
Yep.
introduces people to my publication and then offers a discount that you just can't get anywhere else. Like, I do a
Yep.
$20 a year subscription to people on my $80 a year publication to people in the first week that they're in like part of the thing because I
Okay.
want people to be rewarded for taking action. So I think that like because I basically sent that email out and
Yep.
like the people who didn't take me up on it probably like need more time. That is a nuance that I bring up. So like I do send everyone who comes to my publication 5 emails through a non-Substack server, and then a certain percentage of those people like take me up on $20 a year. Everyone else, my assumption is, oh, you need to know more. Like you need to like be better accustomed. And that
Yeah.
so like I'm gonna give you a break of like a month and then like the next promotion I'll hit you with because I just hit you with something.
Yeah. So to that point and to Hillary's point, she asked, what do you make of those 5-star free subs getting those emails? So I really think something that I think a lot about is that 1 to 3% of people who may become paid subscribers that they're not going to be necessarily the 5-star free subscribers. You're going to have a lot of 5-star subscribers who will never upgrade. They will never do it. They're either just what you're offering is not something that they really, really need. They're just not going to be in the right financial position to do it. They just simply don't pay for newsletters. You know, they might love it. They love reading your work. They're commenting on it. You know, they're doing things to be a 5-star free subscriber. But ultimately, they just will never convert. And I think, I don't know, I want people to understand that that is really common and that's not a failing. And so that's why I am more interested in cohorting your audience by time and finding that sweet spot that you were talking about, Russell, versus cohorting by activity. Um, yeah. What do you think of that?
Well, I still don't know the answer to this question, which is the star. Is the star from my publication or overall in the entire Substack ecosystem? Do you know the answer to that question? Like, how are they stars?
I believe it's from your publication specifically. It has to do with any actions that they take on your publication, how often they're opening email, clicking on links, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would say that that is because I know that's how it works on Kit, but I've always been curious and I've never found like I've never bothered looking for the answer. So that makes sense to me. So if somebody is a 5-star recruit, they probably are getting a lot of value from your free content.
Yeah.
The probably the best person is like a 2 or 3-star recruit to like be
Mhm.
like, hey, I see you're here sometimes. Like you probably don't have the time, energy, or effort to get most value. So like here is how you get most value. Um, I also, but I also agree. Like I don't think that the star level is a good indication of who is going to be buying your publication, while it probably is a pretty good indication for who is talking about and sharing your publication.
Right. Absolutely. And those people still have real value in terms of growing your newsletter. They just may not be the most primed to buy. And to Michelle's point, we should offer different opportunities. I think that's a point well taken. I agree with that.
Yeah, this gets to be like now we're talking about like my way, like my success paths, which are
Yeah.
like
Go.
segmenting people, like making sure that you're like giving stuff to different people. Like I have a segment in my Kit newsletter sequence that like every like month one they get a free bonus. Like
Yeah, I
every
love
they're
that.
like the longer time that they're in there, they get more and more bonuses. So I think probably if you were like, okay, this person's been a year on my publication and they are still 5 stars.
Yeah,
Like, probably I should somehow like reward them of some type because like they've been here a long time. They've gotten a lot of emails and they have not fallen off yet.
totally.
So
Yeah.
yeah, because like a 5-star recruit who's been here a month is a lot different than a 5-star recruit. Like it means that they are like it's most people need triage, right?
Hmm.
Like, would you agree with that? Like, most people have a pain point. They come to a publication and they're like, awesome, I need help. Well, unlike this kind of publication, like,
Yeah.
even if they have a pain point of like, but like, even if you have like a Lauren Hugh or other kind of publication, like, they're still like, I'm depressed. I feel alone. I'm going to join this and go super deep on like this person's work.
Yeah.
So like that first month, someone binging all of your stuff is like common, but to
Right.
have someone
Yeah.
who opens every email and stays in
For
your
much longer.
community,
Yep.
yeah, for like months and months and months, especially because
Yeah.
the average person dips out after what 3 or 4 months. Like most people, most paid subscriptions don't last more than 5 or 6 months. So if someone has stayed there for a year, if someone is like still reading all of your stuff, like these are people that you should be rewarded and more rewarded as they continue on that path.
Totally, because I mean, they're providing so much value to your newsletter, even if they're not upgrading, even if they're not buying your workshops or whatever. The fact that they are, yeah, no, I think I place huge value on those subscribers. Absolutely.
Yeah, so there's a in like sales funnel lingo. I know you know this, but like for everyone
Mhm.
else who doesn't know this, like
Everybody else.
it's like there's no like, trust, and then buy. And most people only care about the people that buy.
Right.
Like really, like they're trying to influence the people that buy. But if you really want to get ahead, the thing that you should influence is the people who trust you.
Yes.
Like it is really the trust stage that is the most important because then someone will buy and or they will recommend you to
Oh,
someone else.
yes.
Yes. So I think we should spend not no time on the offer. The offer is important, but like all that someone not buying the offer tells me really is that they don't want that offer. It does not tell me who trusts it. Like a better offer gets more people to convert, but those people, like that does not say anything about the trust layer. And
Right.
I wrote an article about the trust thermocline a few months ago that was basically about like this is the most important layer of your business. This
Yes.
is the thing that if you
Found it.
violate it, if you violate this level layer, like people will abandon you en masse. And you won't know it until like it happens. But like this is the most important part. And then people will trickle out to buying and they'll stay. Like they will stay as long as they trust you.
Yes, absolutely. It's so painful to see clients scrambling from that broken trust. There's only so much that you can do. And the truth is, it just takes a long time to rebuild. So,
Right.
yeah, it's a tough one.
Yeah.
All
All right.
right.
So my
Well,
last one
uh,
is simple.
okay.
Is recommend for recommend.
Oh, like
Like,
when you email people and ask for a recommendation?
yeah, you recommend me and I'll recommend you. Like, how do you feel about this?
Okay, I know people hate this one, and everybody wants me to rate it a negative 100 out of 10. I'm gonna give it a 2 out of 10 because I think sometimes if you're just starting out and you have a good relationship with someone, a good rapport, it's not you're not cold emailing anybody. But this can be nice, right? It's nice to have a blurb on your welcome page for those desktop users. It can be good. Recommendations do drive a lot of subscribers. So getting an organic recommendation is obviously elite, 100 out of 10. Didn't have to do anything for it, and yet you're reaping the benefits. Um, but yeah, I think that there is some value if it feels like there's a relationship there and you're both starting out and also the newsletters are sort of in conversation with one another in some way. I think it can be all right. But sure, is it a little tacky? Yeah. Is it not the best strategy? Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I certainly think you should recommend somebody and then reach out to them once you've already
Oh,
done
you've
like
already
that
done it.
work.
Yes,
But
absolutely. Do not withhold your
eh,
recommendation. Yes, do
y-
it and then sure, hit them up.
yeah. So a thing that most people don't know, I think, because they don't do a lot of guest posts, is if you tag somebody in a guest post, there's a little pop-up that says, "Do you want to recommend this person?"
Yeah.
So like really like the best way to get a recommendation is to like guest post on an article because there will be a little button that's and you'll be like, well, why won't I do that? Like, I don't
It's
know.
all
Like, why am
coming
I?
together. Collaborations, you guys. Yeah.
Yes, I agree with the 2 of 10. I only think that it was worth it if you were still tightly aligning and you email with something like, hey, I love your publication. I'm recommending it. Like, I do this thing.
Yeah.
If you feel the need to recommend, if you would like, I would love it if you read one of my articles that I think you'd really like, something like
Yeah.
that. I have not seen it work really well for me
Yeah.
because I have like 600 recommendations and like I have 45,000 people. So when
Yeah.
people email me, it's always like I have 300 publications. I have 300 subscribers. I have 50 subscribers, or I've been doing this for 3 months. And I'm like, well, maybe if the people that will help your career the most are not me and
Right.
they are not Aaron. They
Right.
are other people who are on Substack for as long as you and who are at the same place as you
Yes.
every
That
100% of the time.
Yes. I know, I totally agree. That's why I give it a 2 out of 10. It's
Yeah.
gotta be really the right fit and, yeah, similar level, similar stage of the game, um, and, yeah, I like your idea to even send them something that they'd be particularly interested in and say, "If you're moved to recommend me, that'd be great. I already recommended you." But even better if you've chatted on notes, if you've chatted in a comment section, if there's some connection already there, then yeah, you can give it a try. Yeah.
Just like anything else, the thing that's going to define your success is time on platform. And like the more time you're on platform, the more time you're communicating, the more time you're doing this, the more collaborations will open to you. And like I just did this whole thing where I deleted like 15,000 people from my kid account, and I looked at every single thing. Like I have tags for how everyone came into my newsletter that is still around, and like none of them blew me away. But what blew me away was that like all of these things gather over time. There was 50 here and 20
Right.
here and 30
Right.
here and 100 here and like things that like certainly like my Kickstarters and other things like and like from Substack were the biggest buckets of
Right.
that. But like there were just so many people that um that like came from all of these little methods. And like even in that from Substack, there's like people who came from recommendations and people came from a guest post, people came from this article. And
Yeah.
those are the things that like so probably nothing is going to light the world on fire. You can certainly do an anthology or do like a collaboration or do something like that. Like Sparkle on Substack was one of the summit was one of the biggest ones. The 10K Secrets was a big one. Our anthologies have been a big one. Like those are the biggest buckets, but you can probably do those one or two times a year. And
Right.
these other things you can just keep dribbling and dribbling 20, 30, 50, 10,
They add
5.
up. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Any final words before we get out of here? Because it's now over time, or anything you want to discuss more?
No, I think we talked about some really juicy stuff today. If anyone has anything that they want to put in the comments, we could maybe rapid fire rate a couple growth strategies before we hop off. But if none
Sure.
come through, I'm down to wrap this up. Does anyone have
Yep.
any last minute growth strategies they want me and Russell's rating on?
Going to, okay, Rodney. Hi, Rodney. Rodney just did a really cool anthology. That's one of the things that I met him because he was doing a growth anthology. So Rodney Doubt, 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 Rodney Doubt, Daut.
I don't
Like,
know.
definitely check that stuff out. What do you what do you make of the 5 star? Okay, we did that one. Scrolling up to make sure we didn't miss anything.
Yeah, I think we got them. Well, thanks everyone for being here. This was really fun. Russell, thank you for as always responding to my last minute emails of my wacky ideas, and this was just really fun to do with you. And yeah, I'm just so happy that we pulled it off. We did it.
Yeah, I love it. Awesome. It's always great to see you. Hopefully we'll see each other again pretty soon.
Absolutely. All right, bye everyone.
Bye.